Welcome back to my channel, Revenge from the Shadows. The mystery attacker returns to destroy the Vision on Raw. Tonight's unfolding chaos on Monday Night Raw wasn't just another storyline twist or another confrontation cooked up for shock value. It felt like a culmination of weeks of whispers, warnings, unresolved betrayals, and a growing storm that had been circling the Vision faction since they first rose to power. Ever since Paul Heyman crafted his new machine, ever since he assembled the monsters that marched behind him, the locker room has moved with caution, always watching over their shoulders, always aware that stepping out of line around Heyman's newly sharpened empire could result in severe consequences. But tonight, something shifted. Something returned. Something that had been lurking unseen decided that this was the moment to strike, and the Vision, cocky, dominant, and convinced they were untouchable, found themselves staring into the darkness of revenge they never saw coming. The arena atmosphere told the story first. Backstage interviews interrupted by strange background noises, security personnel moving in clusters instead of pairs, and superstars whispering about someone roaming the corridors, someone they couldn't identify, but someone clearly sending a message without ever speaking a word. It wasn't just fear. It was anticipation, the kind of tension that hangs in the air before a storm snaps the sky open. And as cameras moved from one segment to another, viewers could sense the production team trying to hide their own panic, as if even they weren't sure what was lurking in the shadows behind their sets, waiting for an opening. The Vision arrived tonight with swagger, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed leading the charge like unleashed wolves, both fully recovered from earlier assaults and hungrier than ever to enforce Heyman's vision. They've spent weeks attacking legends, annihilating icons, and dismantling contenders with brutal efficiency. The more damage they dealt, the more confident they became, until eventually they reached that dangerous point where dominant factions start believing their own mythos. They believed no one could touch them. They believed no one could threaten them. They believed the mysterious attacker who struck weeks earlier was either gone, scared, or irrelevant. They believed wrong. Early in the show, Heyman addressed the WWE Universe with his trademark smugness, insisting that the Vision was stronger than ever and that no ghost from the past would interfere with their rise to supremacy. But his eyes told a different story, darting left and right, scanning the shadows, twitching at every sound. Heyman has survived countless wars in WWE, but even he knows when a threat is real, and whatever returned tonight was real enough to rattle a man who rarely flinches. Meanwhile, Breaker and Reed brushed off the warnings, convinced that whoever had previously ambushed them was a coward relying on sneak attacks instead of stepping up face-to-face like a true challenger. They promised to crush anyone who tried it again. But the thing about shadows is simple. You cannot challenge what you cannot see. As the night progressed, the attacks began. Not full assaults, not outright brawls, but calculated, surgical strikes designed to send a message. First, a piece of equipment mysteriously crashed inches from where the Vision was standing during a backstage promo, narrowly missing them but clearly dropped with intent. Then, Reed's locker room bench was shattered, broken clean down the middle, as if someone wanted him to know they could reach him at any moment. Braun Breaker's gear had been moved, rearranged, tampered with, not destroyed, but touched, invaded. It was psychological warfare, and the more the Vision tried to act unfazed, the more obvious it became that they were losing their nerve. And then it happened. The moment everything shifted. During the final hour of Raw, Breaker and Reed were escorting Heyman back toward the production hallway after a heated confrontation with another superstar. The cameras followed them from a distance, capturing the tension that had thickened around them all night. The lighting flickered, first once, then twice. A metallic clang echoed through the hallway, and everyone froze. The camera shook slightly as the operator adjusted their grip, trying to locate the source of the noise. Heyman backed up instinctively. Reed growled, ready to charge forward. Breaker yelled out, demanding that whoever was there show themselves. For a moment, there was silence, the kind that makes the entire arena hold its breath. Then, from the darkness, the figure emerged, not fully visible, not illuminated, just a silhouette stepping into the frame with deliberate calm, as if the entire night had been designed to bring this moment into existence. The Vision reacted immediately, but they reacted too late. The mystery man moved like a ghost, fast but precise, grabbing a steel pipe from the floor and driving it straight into Reed's ribs with a sickening thud. Reed fell to one knee, gasping. The air ripped from his lungs. Breaker lunged, but the attacker ducked under his arm, swinging the pipe into Breaker's knee, making him collapse with a roar of pain. The camera crew scrambled for safety as Heyman screamed for security, but the attacker wasn't finished. He struck again, leveling Reed with a shot across the back, then dropped the pipe and turned his full attention to Breaker. And here's where things changed. Instead of finishing Breaker off immediately, the attacker grabbed him by the chin, forcing him to look up, as if wanting Breaker to recognize exactly who had come back for vengeance. The lighting caught just enough of the attacker's face to spark instant rumors. A familiar jawline. A familiar glare. A presence that hinted at someone powerful, someone dangerous, someone who clearly had unfinished business with the Vision. Breaker tried to swing again, but the attacker slammed him into a production crate, the impact echoing across the entire backstage area. Reed crawled forward, trying to intervene, but a boot caught him in the chest, flattening him again. Security finally arrived, but before they could close in, the mystery assailant stepped back into the shadows and vanished, leaving destruction behind him and confusion rippling through everyone who watched. Heyman fell to his knees beside his fallen monsters, screaming at security, demanding they find the man responsible. But the truth was clear. The Vision wasn't dealing with an unknown attacker anymore. They were dealing with a returning force. A force capable of dismantling the faction piece by piece. A force who clearly had a plan and wasn't done yet. Reports backstage claimed that superstars had seen glimpses of the attacker throughout the night. Someone tall, fast, and wearing a hooded jacket that concealed his identity. Others claimed they recognized his stance, his movement, or the way he used the pipe with such confidence, suggesting that this wasn't a rookie, wasn't a newcomer, and wasn't someone acting impulsively. This was someone who had been wronged. Someone who had waited. Someone who had come back with vengeance in his veins, and a target locked squarely on the Vision. Social media exploded instantly. Fans began theorizing, speculating, identifying clues from the silhouette and the attacker's style. Some insisted it was a returning superstar previously injured.